All right then. For the first time that's relevant to this season, we actually have a guest on. We have a guest on. That may sound like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. I think if I've got it right. So I've messed that up completely. Either way, Ben's back. You all right?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good, good. And Dmitri, I believe it is, from HullCityFansTV. I've actually watched a couple of your videos. Actually, I think I watched bits of your wasn't match day experience or vlog from the Derby County game, which I'm sure you won't want to talk much about. But you'd all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thanks. Delighted to be on the podcast today.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. Right, well, let's get straight into it. The first one is, Dimitri, we have someone who I follow who likes a lot, and I think Ben knows her as well, called J.D. Burrell. She likes a lot of her tweets, and every time I ask for questions, I can always rely on her to send a question, even if it's not strictly relevant to football. So I'll include Dimitri in this as well. She says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like Marmite?
Ooh, I've never really tried it, but I think I've had it a couple of times. I'd probably say like a 3. It's okay. It's not insufferable, but I'd never choose to have it.
Fair enough. I mean, hang on. Marmite, is that like... I'm trying to think, because I remember something called ASDF movie, and I remember a Marmite, it was like random sketches of Marmite, and it just looks more like Bovril. There was like a little thing on it looked like Bovril, and if that's the case, then I don't want to try it, because I hate Bovril, but... Marmite's not butter, is it? I know that sounds a stupid question.
No, it's not. It's something you put on butter, isn't it? I like it as much as I like James Vaughan at the moment,
So not very much then.
Yeah.
All right then, that sounds about accurate. All right then. Well, so Dimitri, we'll get your side of things. Before we, how are you feeling ahead of Saturday? Ahead of tell us in advance about Hull's 4-0 thrashing of Sunderland.
I'm feeling quite nervous because I do think we can beat you because we're a very good side at home, but I'm nervous because we really need a result right now. And obviously, you need a result too, but things are going okay for us. But two losses in a row, and if we're looking to be challenging for promotion, yes, you have blips of bad form, but if we have another loss or a draw, then we're going to get into a bad run of form, I think, very easily. And Derby that aren't a bad sign, Fulham are a good sign. It was away from home, both of them, but we really need to start picking up some points again. Bit of 0 points now for a couple of weeks, and I'm very nervous. We really need a result, and I think with how much you need a result as well, it's not going to be an easy game at all for us. Not like the Bolton and Burton Albion home games, which we walked easily. It's going to be a real test for us, I think.
I don't know. He's saying it's not going to be an easy game at the moment. We do well. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't at the Forest game. Obviously, by this point, the Forest game has already happened. But I'll quickly come to Ben for this one. What was the Forest game like? Because apparently, from what I've been hearing off everybody else, apparently it was, and the cliche was it was an improvement. But obviously, I did see the mistake that Browning made for the goal, and it was just Sunderland written in a nutshell at the moment. So you tell me what it was like.
Yeah, it was probably the most frustrating game that I've watched all season, to be honest. Sunderland had, on the stats we've had the less possession, but I'd say the more meaningful possession we had, like 14 shots on goal, which we could, I think we only had 1 shot on goal on Saturday against Sheffield United. So going forward, we did everything but put the ball in the net. Obviously, Graben went off with an injury. I think he pulled his hamstring. So I don't know if he's going to be ready for Saturday against Hull. But we didn't really look like conceding until Browning gave the ball away in the back four. The back four looked really solid all night until that moment, and just heavily frustrated again. Now four defeats on the trot now. The momentum's swinging in the wrong direction, isn't it?
Well, one thing's for certain: run of defeats is going to end for one of the teams at least at the weekend. I don't know. I think 4 defeats at the moment seems pretty poor, considering that the first 3 games there was a fair amount of optimism. And obviously, I've said before about the Leeds game that I felt like I wasn't really getting too downhearted after that one. But certainly certainly the 2 I've watched since Barnsley and Sheffield United, I feel have been heavily a result of a lack of application in both of them, because I do believe Sunderland are better than both of those clubs. Well, I'll tell you what then. Well, obviously we'll come to Dmitri again. Take us through your start of the season, because I'm looking at the championship table now, and I was surprised you only had 7 points. I thought you'd be a little bit higher than that. So in the event that Sunderland win at the weekend, which is I don't think is going to happen, we can go above Hull. So I mean, tell us through your start of the season, because I watched it against Villa. I think was it Villa you played the opening day, where you you played all right second half actually. It looked like a pretty decent compact side. You got forward quite well. I don't know what's happened since then. I mean, obviously, don't put Sebastian Larsson on penalties, I guess is one thing to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to start off quite positively. I think some of our fans, we're a bit doom and gloom sometimes with our ownership regime right now. A lot of fans are quite pessimistic and said we could potentially get relegated this season. And I think immediately, I don't think there's any worry about us going down, to be honest. And the positives is that we beat Bolton 4-0 easily. They never threatened us, and that was such a lovely game for us, because a lot of people have been just so pessimistic, saying we're probably going to go down, get relegated, etc. Someone like Bolton, who would be potentially a relegation rival if we was down there, we absolutely crushed, and they never came close to us all night. And we also beat Burton Albion as well, 4-1. We won that fairly easily, and those two very good results, nice thrashings for us. But other than that, the Villa result we all thought was brilliant when it first happened, because Villa didn't do very well last year, but we thought, me and my friends at least thought, Villa were going to do pretty well this year, and we've just got a draw away from home from them. But then they went on this poor run of form that they've been on. We didn't feel quite as good about the draw after that. But really, it's our away form that's, from last season as well, carrying through to this season, that's let us down. QPR losing to them was poor, because we lost. It would have been a draw had it not been for a late goal, a late winner for them. And we also hit the first. We got very unlucky there. Losing like 5-0 to Derby is just pathetic and embarrassing. And it just shows the class divide in the division, really, because, the game before that we beat Bolton 4-0, and the next game we go and lose 5-0 to Derby, and it's just such a contrast. And, the positives are that we've had a good couple of wins at home, but the negatives are our away form, our woes continue on the road. We lost to QPR, we lost to Derby, we lost to Fulham, and we drew with Villa, and that doesn't seem like that great a result now that they've gone on their run of form that they have.
I'll tell you what, Ben, imagine if this game was at Sunderland. I think we know straight away what we would be saying, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's the other way around. Hull's fortunes to ours. We're poorer at home, and we're kind of more capable of winning away from home, which it might be a good game on Saturday, because obviously Hull's got a good home form. We've got fairly good away form, well, compared to our home form, that is. So,
yeah.
And especially beating them at the back end of last season as well.
I should say, sorry, that I'm still not over that, and I'm still very bitter about that. You effectively relegating us in that game, and it's just.
I'll tell you.
Like to use typical City.
I'll tell you what. One of the other lads who would come on here, usually Peter, me and him sort of had a bet between the two of us about. I think it was between Hughes and Swansea about who would actually stay up and who would go down. And I think, sorry Dimitri, I actually put that Hughes would go down and Swansea would stay up, because I felt that at the time Swansea had the better match winners and whatnot. But Hughes were really making a good go of it. Hughes were making a really good go of it, and I felt there was a point where I thought I was actually going to lose the bet, and then. But even when we won, obviously that was after we were already relegated, and it was frustrating at the time, because the only positive thing we'd done effectively was screw your season over, and that's not yet. That says a lot when that's a positive from our perspective.
It was absolutely ridiculous. I was so arrogant and confident before the game. I thought we were going to walk you over, because we should have, logically. We'd gone on a great run of home form where we'd beaten Liverpool, we'd beaten Watford, we'd beaten these teams, and then. With no disrespect, all we had to do was beat an already relegated Sunderland, who were rock bottom, and we lost 2-0. And if we'd have won that, I don't think we'd be discussing Hull City versus Sunderland right now. I think we'd have stayed up.
To be fair, actually, I'll probably agree with that. I don't know what Ben thinks, but I think if Hull had beaten Sunderland that day, I think they would have stayed up, because I think the pressure would have been too much on Swansea.
Not just points-wise, but I think if we would have if we'd have won that and gone in neck and neck with Swansea, I think we would have put in a much better performance against Crystal Palace. I don't think we would have lost that match.
Yeah, I can't say I blame you for that. Mind you, though, you could argue that was partially revenge for us because you beat us like 4 bloody times on the trot before then.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And it was in some ways, I think it took me a long time to get over the FA Cup game. Actually, I'll tell you what, the one that really annoyed me when we played against you, was after when we played you on Boxing Day a few years ago. We'd just beaten Newcastle away from home. Yous were in a pretty poor position at the time with Steve Bruce. You were in the bottom 3, I think it was, and we took the lead after 20, 30 seconds or whatever it was, and instead of being a professional football club and going on and winning the game, we contrived to lose 3-1. Not taking anything away from you that day, because from what I remember, apparently everyone was saying you deserved it based on the second half. But we've had interesting ties between the two of us, haven't we? So one thing you should probably bet on is a red card of some stage. I think up until recently, there's been a reputation of having red cards, although mostly go our way. So I don't know. I'm.
You beat us at the Stadium Light last year, didn't you, as well? 3-0.
Yeah, and even that wasn't a 3-0 game, I don't think. I think up until the second, I thought yous were the better team, actually, until the second goal, probably, and then that was what killed it off. Because I don't know what Ben thought. I thought at that game, we were pretty poor for most of it.
Yeah, I think the scoreline flattered to deceive, really, didn't it?
Yeah. But then again, the amount of times it's been the other way around, it was nice for once to beat someone comfortably, even if we didn't deserve it, which we didn't. No, I mean, as far as this season goes then, Dmitri, what do you think about the aims for Hull? Because I've got to be honest, at the start of the season, I felt you would do the worst out of the 3 of us, and that was based on, and this was from an outside perspective, so tell me if I'm talking shite, which I probably am, but it was because you'd lost Robertson, you'd lost Maguire, El Mohammadi going to Villa, I thought was a bit of a strange one for the price that he went for. Obviously, you might know more than me, but I've got to be honest, right now, I think that Hughes and Borough probably maybe Borough have the best out of the 3 of the relegated teams, but I think Hughes have got a better chance than us now of going up. So,
well, I can agree with you totally on the Maguire and Robertson because, we lost Maguire, Robertson, Klukas. Those were the 3 key players. I didn't actually think Klukas would leave, and then he did quite late on, and that was a blur. But losing Maguire and Robertson, although it was inevitable, it was sad to lose those, and we didn't replace them. We took in 40-something million this summer, and we only spent 8 of it because our owners are scumbags. But plus parachute payments as well, and we only spent 8 million, and we took in a lot of money on Maguire. And personally, I think we could have got more from Maguire, and losing Robertson. And to be honest, if you're looking at those players that are leaving for Leicester and how well Robertson's spent for Liverpool, this is on match of the day a few weeks ago. How did we go down with some of the quality we had in the side? But El Mohammadi, I should add quickly, wasn't a blur to lose at all. He's rubbish. He's been shit for us for a couple of seasons now. But the others were and losing Josh Tymon as well was another one that went under the radar a little bit, but he'd come on as a sub a few times last year and was breaking into the first team squad. Brilliant academy prospect, and when he was playing for us last year as a substitute in the Premier League, as a squad player in the Premier League, he was on academy wages, so he was earning less than minimum wage for 30 minutes in the Premier League every other week, which was astounding. And at the end of the season, we offered him £2,000 a week, and Stoke offered him £8,000, and he went to go and play for Stoke, and he got man of the match then a few weeks ago. So it's just the way our squad was. I do think I can understand you thinking that we wouldn't do too well, but I don't think we'll get relegated, to be honest.
No, I think people saying that, sorry to interrupt, I think people are over-exaggerating when they say that for you. There's no chance of it.
It's absolute shit, to be honest. I mean, I still think we've got some really good players in the team, and we've brought in some good players. I think Irvine, Terrell's good. I think Hector at the back is absolutely immense. I think he's brilliant, and we've still got some players. Bowen's emerged as well, who are very good players, and we've still got some really good individuals in the team. And relegation isn't a threat to us this year, but saying that, I don't think we'll get a promotion. I think honestly, if I'm going with my brain and not my heart, my brain would say mid-table, mediocrity. But my heart says maybe we can push for promotion, maybe playoffs, but we'd have to sort out our away form if we're going to push for playoffs.
Well, don't worry. You've still got to come to Sunderland, so you'll get a victory there straight away. That's guaranteed. I know you might be, I don't know whether you'd be pessimistic on that front, but still. Right, well, I wanted to ask you about, now, I'm going to get your manager's name wrong, so I apologise in advance. Is it Leonard Slutsky?
It's, that's all a lot of fans say, but I think it's Slutsky. It doesn't really matter
Slutsky.
how
Well, either way, what are your thoughts? Well, first of all, but I'll ask another different question and add about Slutsky, or Slutsky, whatever his name is, as a follow-on question to this. First of all, what were your thoughts about losing Marco Silva in the summer? Because I've got to be honest, the fact he's got to Watford, I think he could have gone for a more... If he was going to leave Hull, he could have gone for a more ambitious move than that.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Yeah. I mean, I think... I don't know about Watford. What annoys me about Watford is they always seem to play, I don't know, just a bit... They don't really do anything, but they always seem to stay up comfortably. I'll never understand that. They seem to get a lot of wins under the radar that people don't notice.
I'll tell you what. Try being a Sunderland fan in that respect, because we constantly get crap from every support going for basically avoiding relegation. Watford basically replaced the manager every year, signed 20 players, and they still managed to stay up comfortably. And the manager, again, the last manager they had last year, they weren't happy with for staying up comfortably.
I don't understand that.
No, I don't get it either.
They wanted him out, but honestly, they stayed up comfortably in the end, didn't they? When they played us, we actually beat them. And that was the game where we all thought we were staying up after we beat Watford 2-0 with 10 men. And and at that point they were safe with a few games to go. So yeah, Watford's an odd one. But Marco Silva for me, yes, it doesn't actually bother me too much, to be honest, because he gave us a lot of hope, and he made us play some really nice football at times, and he nearly kept us up. But at the end of the day, he didn't keep us up, did he? Really, he didn't do the job, and that sounds cynical and harsh, but he didn't keep us up, so he didn't ultimately do his job, and I still rate him as a manager, and I think he deserved to go to a Premier League club because with more budget and more ambitious owners who would back him, he could do some really good things at a club, and maybe he will do really good things at Watford. Maybe he'll take them into the top half of the Premier League. But I got over it fairly quickly. He didn't keep us up, and I thought he would leave because he's too good for a Championship team. But I got used to the fact he was going to leave pretty quickly, and then when he did leave, I just focused on who he was going to be replaced with.
And then the follow-up question, Slutsky, I'm not going to get that name right again, am I? How do you feel he's done? I mean, what did he come in through the door? What did he have to work with coming through the door? How difficult a job has it been for him? How do you feel he's done generally, even though it's only 6-7 games into the season?
I think he's done all right, to be honest, because for the first 2 games of the season, before we signed Irvine and Terrell and Dicko and Stephen Kingsley, our 4 players who've gone straight to the first team. We had a threadbare squad, which is something that Hull City were very used to having, and he had to try and work with it. And when he joined, I don't think he quite knew what he was getting into. I think he was given some false promises by our owner, and he actually said himself that a lot of players were leaving. He didn't understand why they were leaving, and he had no say over the transfers whatsoever. Everything was controlled by E.F.C, the owner, not even the chief executive. Every transfer he had no say whatsoever on transfers, and he actually said enough players have left. The supermarket is shut. Those were his words, and then Klukas left a week later, and he seemed to be very visibly upset by having clearly promises broken. And it looked like he might resign, but we signed some players, and he seems to have, unfortunately for him, he's just had to accept the situation he's in. He's going to make the best of it. He's got a very infectious personality. He said after a win that the best part of the match for him was the fans chanting his name and asking him to wave, and all the fans. He's a fan favourite because he's so happy and he's so optimistic, and he always tries to make the best of things. And I wouldn't say some of the losses so far have been his fault. I think they've just been the fault of individual players performing poorly at times. Because, yes, he can fit the team, he can do the tactics, but if the player makes a mistake, that's on the player, it's not on the manager. And I think you could say he's been a bit tactically stubborn, but I don't think he's done anything wrong so far. Other than being perhaps tactically stubborn, he's trying his best with what he's got.
What I would ask then is what type of football does it? From the games you've watched, have you formed an earlier assessment of what type of football he likes to play? Does he like to play direct? Does he play with whips? Does he play possession-based football? What does he like to do? And particularly, is it different home and away?
Oh, he's experimented with a few formations, but by tactically stubborn, we don't always seem to have a plan B later on in the match if we are behind, if we're losing or we're struggling. We do play possession based. We build it up quite slowly. A lot of wing play, but unfortunately, one of our wingers doesn't really overlap, and it's clear that on one side of the pitch we've got a lot of overlapping play, and the fullbacks like to get up, and we'll play it through the wings, but and then pass it inside. But the problem is, and I'm saying this, it's not his fault. It comes down to individual players. Is that Kamil Grosicki, who is very highly rated for some unknown reason by people who don't watch Hull City regularly. Think he's our best player. He's not. He's pretty crap. And players like him are very. They don't move around much, and it's hard for Grosicki. It's hard for Slutsky, to be able to have a game plan when players won't cooperate with it, if that makes sense. But he's trying to play possession-based football. He's trying to get the wingers to cut inside and overlap, and fullback and winger, that is. And some of the players aren't cooperating with it, but that seems to be his game plan. But what I would say is later on, when we're struggling, we don't seem to have a plan B, and we set up pretty much the same away from home, to be honest.
So you think that's a bit maybe tactical naivety from Slutsky away from home? Or am I being harsh?
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. I think that if it works at home, I know it sounds stupid, but if it's working for us at home, and, if we're beating a team like Bolton, if we're beating Bolton at home 4-0, we're playing beautiful possession football, and it's working very well, you'd think, well, we'll take it away, and if the players played that well there, yes, it's a stronger opposition, yes, it's away from home, but you're thinking maybe if the players are used to that, they can do it away from home as well, but that's not been the case, unfortunately. Playing a side like Bolton or Burton Albion is incredibly different to playing a side like Derby or Fulham.
Couldn't agree more. I think that Derby and Fulham certainly have a lot more quality about them than those two teams have. I mean, Bolton, I think...
as well. The mentality is just completely different.
Well, I mean, I think and I don't think Ben was there, but I was at the Stadium of Light last week. But we had a quiz basically, Dimitri. We had like a 20th anniversary quiz or whatever it was, which was quite fun. It was enjoyable. But they had clips of your game on, like just as the goals were going in. I was looking at your results, just thinking how shocked I was by it, because I thought that'd be a very tight game, if anything. And then, now the other thing I was going to ask. Have Sebastian Larsson or Fraser Campbell featured much? Obviously, I think you've had, not affiliations, but you've had a history with Campbell in the past. I think he's correct me if I'm wrong, I think people have said Campbell's received quite positively from Hull fans. Obviously, Larsson's gone in, both on free transfers. Thoughts on those two?
I'll start by saying about Campbell quickly, explaining very briefly the history with him and Hull City. He came on loan to us a decade ago from Man United, young player, very promising, and he scored loads of goals for us in our promotion season, the first ever promotion to the Premier League, and fans fell in love with him. He was a brilliant player for us, but obviously he was going to go back to Manchester United or maybe at the higher up club, so he moved to, I believe it was Tottenham as part of the Berbatov deal, I believe. Anyway, whatever, I'm not sure it's part of the Berbatov deal, but he did move to Tottenham, and we didn't really see him. We didn't really see too much of him. But when he was at Sunderland, there were times, I think throughout his career, when he was linked to us several times, and there was a famous story that that he bought a house in Beverley and he was ready to join, but his dad really didn't want him to join City, and he was linked to us several times over the years, never joined, and then the most famous incident was when we played Cardiff City on the final day of the, let me I don't remember what year it
Yeah,
was.
I remember this. It was sorry that I'm sad. I'm sad that I know it was at the end of the 12-13 season. It was that when you and who was it? Was it you and Watford? I think were competing to try and get the second automatic spot because Cardiff had already won the league.
Yeah, yes, I think it was, and I remember Leeds actually did a really big favour that day and beat Watford for us, or drew them at
Vicarage Road. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and City, typical City, did it the hardest way we could. We had to wait for their results to come through, but of course, Fraser Campbell opened the scoring for Cardiff City.
Yeah, you were 2-1 up, weren't you?
Pardon?
You went 2-1 up in that game, didn't you?
Yes, we did. I believe it was either an equaliser or the goal that took the lead for Cardiff. And he ran over to the Hull City fans and did a mock oops gesture in front of us, and received a lot of bile from Hull City fans for winding us up. That specifically, no one really knows why, the motives behind that, but City fans hated him for a few years, and then suddenly this summer he found himself a free agent, and it all happened very quickly. The Hull Daily Mail and the newspaper reported that Hull City were linked to him, and within a couple of days he joined, and everyone was very taken aback because they thought he'd never joined. And Amber Nectar, a big Hull City fans, had actually said in the past that after all these rumours, he was never going to sign, and then he did, and he hasn't featured too much, unfortunately, because he's had an injury for a few weeks, but in the games he has played, he's been very enthusiastic so far. He's played incredibly enthusiastic. For a player who lacked match fitness from being a free agent, he tried incredibly hard, and he had a brilliant work rate, and he's had some shots so far. We really want him to get his first goal. He hasn't got his first goal yet for City after joining, but he's certainly trying, and I think he'll probably be starting against you on Saturday. I'm not sure what his reception will be like from the Sunderland fans, whether you're apathetic to him or whether there's hate or love.
I wouldn't say there's. Sorry, I wouldn't say there's. I don't know if Ben wants to jump in here. I wouldn't think there's hate from our fans on Campbell specifically. I think Campbell's one of those always that he was a trier. I just didn't think he was good enough. But
yeah, he just had a lot of injuries at Sunderland, didn't he? Every time he came back into form, he seemed to play well for us, and I think he broke into the England squad when he was with Sunderland for a brief period. But yeah, I don't think there'll be any hatred towards Fraser Campbell.
No, I would, and I don't think there should be. I remember that goal. I don't know if you might have seen it, Dmitri. The goal he scored for us against Norwich under Martin O'Neill was just one of the best goals I've seen as a fan. I think it was. Do you remember it, Ben?
Yeah, certainly in live play, that was a great goal. Yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant. I mean, I just watch it all the time, and
he had a great season that season, though. He was really on top form. He helped us a lot that season with Darren Bent.
Exactly. I know. Well, he was effectively brought in. He was effectively then Ben's replacement, wasn't he? Because it was the year after Bent left, and we were struggling to score goals. So, but anyway, sorry, we're back on point then. I mean, no, I'm hopefully Campbell. I was going to say hopefully Campbell get a good reception. I hope so. And Dmitri, I'll ask you, what about Larson? Because this one I thought surprised me a little bit.
Larson's an interesting one because when he joined, I thought, well, that's the Allams, isn't it? Typical free agent signing, and not spending any money. But I also thought, shrewd, and he might be a good squad player for us. As it happens, due to injuries and whatnot, he's become a first team player. And I'd seen on Twitter that when he left Sunderland, he seemed to. A lot of fans didn't seem to be too sad to see the back of him, and the general feelings I got from Twitter from Sunderland fans were that he hadn't been that good for the past 2 years or so, or past few years. But so far for us, he's been pretty good, to be honest. I mean, that penalty is going to take a lot of City fans might feel a bit odd about him for a little while, because I don't want to go too off point, but I should say in that Derby game, if we'd equalised then, we've got the momentum. It's 1-1. It would have been a totally different game.
Oh,
So
yeah.
to miss that is just horrendous. To not even get it on target. But other than that penalty miss, he's been brilliant for us, actually. Not very good. He's been quite... a lot of City fans seem to not quite have noticed him so far, but essentially he's just been a martyr in midfield. He's played some really nice passes, done a job in centre mid, and he hasn't really put too much of a foot wrong until that penalty miss.
Well, if it's any consolation, it's not the first time he's missed a penalty. And Ben remember this, won't we? It was when Martin O'Neill first joined. I mean, you may have watched it, Dmitri. I don't know, but when Martin O'Neill first joined Sunderland, we played. It was before he officially took charge, but he was in the stands for this game. We played Wolves away, and we went 1-0 up. I think Kieran Richardson scored for us, if I remember rightly. We went 1-0 up. Start the second half. Larsson actually dived to win a penalty, which was a bit interesting. He subsequently then missed it. We went down the other end, conceded straight away, and went on to lose 2-1. So I would say with Larsson, I think Ben's probably going to agree with this. I think that Larsson, like Campbell, is an absolute trier. I think what you'll get from Larsson is you'll get someone who's at least going to be 110%er. But I would say that he wasn't good for the last couple of years, but his legs are completely gone. But bearing in mind that was the Premier League, so I don't know how he's going to do in the Championship. But I think he won't be a bad addition for you for a year. I think certainly for at least.
I'm delighted to have him. I'm sorry, Ben. I'll just say quickly.
No, go on.
What he is, he's experienced, and we've got quite a young squad right now, and he's certainly an experienced player. And
yeah,
I'd like to see him stay for more than a year, especially if we don't go up.
I think you'll be a good Championship
player.
player.
Made a good point there. He's experienced, which is a lot of what we don't have. And it was painful watching him last year, mind Dmitri, in the Premier League. His legs are totally gone. But yeah, he's fully committed, isn't he, Michael, to the cause?
He is.
I would say.
You'll get that out of him.
Commitment.
You'll get commitment out of him easily. No, sorry, go on, Dmitri. I think you were going to say something. I've interrupted you twice.
I'll just say quickly, what is nice to see about Campbell is a lot of City fans are still a bit not sure about him due to what he's done over the years. I, for one, just welcomed him back because I thought he's a City player and all. Unless they've done something incredibly antagonistic, even worse than what Campbell did to us against Cardiff when he was playing for them. If he's playing in that black and amber, I'll support them. And he works so hard, and he's a couple of times I think giving his shirt to fans at the end of the match, and he certainly seems to be trying to get the fans back on side, which is nice to see.
Yeah. You'll get from the pair of them. There won't be bad squad options. To be fair, actually, I think I said this to Ben in the summer. Campbell was someone I thought we should have been looking at because, as Dmitri, you'll probably know, our situation financially is actually probably worse than yours because we've spent like $2 million, but we've both got questionable owners, to say the least. But that's a different topic altogether. I was going to ask you as well what your thoughts were about going into the game about who are Hull's main danger men. So again, Sunderland's probably going to be every player you've got, basically. But who are the key real danger men that we should be shitting ourselves over?
I'd say I know we've just been talking about him, but I think he'll be starting Campbell. I'll look right mug if he's on the subs bench, but hopefully if he is starting, he's just come back from injury at home. It'd be a good time for him to score his first goal for City, and I'm sure you believe typical against his former club Sunderland. But
yeah,
I think his first goal is coming, so I'd watch out for him. Obviously, Jared Bowen, definitely one to watch. He came through the youth academy, and it'd be nice to say we knew he was a brilliant player, but he only got into the first team because of how threadbare our squad was against Aston Villa, and he actually started for us after being a bit part player last year. And he scored, and he hasn't looked back since. 4 in 5, 4 goals and 5 appearances. He's just picked up the EFL Young Player of the Month. And it's great to see him emerge in the first team. It's always good to have players come through the youth academy.
Oh, yeah.
We signed him from Hereford a few years ago, and then we put him in our under-23 squad. But he's become one of our key men. And a few City fans are still sceptical of whether he can do it in the really big games. But 4 and 5, and they've been good goals, so you can't really argue with that. I'd say centre mid, we've got David Myler, next Sunderland player. I don't think he'll probably score or get an assist, but he's a really committed player. He's always gives 110% to the cause. He'll get stuck in, he'll break up play, he'll play some passes, and you certainly will see a lot of him if he's starting, which he probably will be. not sure your feelings about him, but I believe he's our longest serving player now at the club, and he's certainly very committed. You might have seen him on YouTube as well. He's YouTube. He does feature on YouTube, and a lot of people know.
Oh yeah. Now, to be fair, I mean, you said that Myler's probably not going to score or assist. Well, we know, again, you'll hear what me and Ben are going to say. Anyone that doesn't do it plays us.
Well, I'm sure Myler scored in that FA Cup game.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, and I don't think he had a very good reputation with Sunderland fans when he went to Hull anyway. I think he said a few gross things about Sunderland, but yeah.
I don't know. I think so.
Like I've met David Myler. He was in the stands for a few Sunderland games when I was in hospitality, and he was a lovely guy. And he's a half decent footballer at that level. No,
oh yeah.
I would have him in our team now.
To be fair, do you remember David Myler's incident with Alan Pardew, the headbutt?
Yes.
That was hilarious. I'm never going to get over that. That was class.
I'd say as well, again, a key man, not a danger man because he's a centre back, but one of our key men is Michael Hector, on loan from Chelsea. I think this is his 15th loan in his career. He's 25 now. Chelsea's still learning him out. You know, they'll probably learn that when he's 30. He's absolutely brilliant, and I can't believe we've got him because a couple of seasons ago, actually, he was on loan at Reading, did a brilliant job with them, and really should be on loan to a lower half of the table Premier League team. But he's found himself at Hull. He's a brilliant player. He had a poor game at Derby, but other than that, he's been nothing short of incredible at the back for us so far this season. So, yeah.
He's going to have a really quiet afternoon then on Saturday, isn't he, Michael?
Oh yeah, James Vaughan, the mighty James Vaughan. He's so class. Like, honestly, Dmitri, you have to watch out for James Vaughan. He's so amazing. I mean, his hold-up play is brilliant. His goal record's phenomenal. You know, he's one of the best players I've ever seen play for us. Absolutely fantastic.
In League One, he had a great record. I mean, I don't think your boys at the back will have any problems dealing with us going forward, if I'm honest.
No.
I think he'll go for one up top with Vaughan there, because I think that's all he's got at the moment.
Did Graben get an injury?
Yeah, he did. He went off with a hamstring injury in the first half, so I think Vaughan might be our only source of strikers. So
Dmitri, trust me, if you're nervous for this game, our only striker is James Vaughan, who can't hold the ball up. His touch is terrible and his shot is awful. So if you're worried about that, I'm hoping we've just put you at ease that you'll certainly comfortably keep a clean sheet. I would bet me money on it.
Football's crazy that there is absolutely no way you should have beaten us last season, and you did. And I'm
certainly on paper, not the away one. I'd say, yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that one. No, I mean to be fair, I was going to ask you then, and I think your answer's probably going to be very limited on this one. Is there anyone from Sunderland's ranks at the minute that you're worried could cause you problems? Don't be afraid to say no, because we're used to it.
I don't think there is anyone, to be honest. No one jumps off the page, whereas they might for some teams, but no.
I'd say if McGeady was fit, he'd be one, but other than that, I'm struggling to think of many people that will.
Maybe Johnny Williams. I think Johnny Williams might cause a few problems for Hull. Certainly in the middle of the park. He's
actually
very flight. He's good control, good with the ball. He can pick a pass. It's just a shame that he's got no one to kind of feed the ball to up front. I think that's where our problems certainly are.
I think I've just contradicted myself here, but I think Johnny Williams, now that you mention him, actually, I think he is quite forward-thinking. From the game I watched against Sheffield United, he was the only one that was trying to make something happen. I've said it many times, but he was going forward. He was trying to cross the ball. Yeah, the cross didn't go to anyone, but at least he was trying to put the cross and put the ball in the box. But I think Johnny Williams could. McGeady could, but obviously I don't have any faith in us scoring goals with Vaughan up top. I really don't. I just don't think it. I can guarantee if we are gonna win on Saturday, it's gonna be through a mistake from Hull's perspective. Probably that's probably the only reason that we will win the game. I mean, he said a lot. I mean, I remember last year, and I'm sorry that Dmitri, probably you'll find this quite depressing, but I found this quite funny. Marco Silva apparently had this long unbeaten record at home in whatever league he managed, and someone put, imagine having that ended by a Billy Jones header and one of Jermaine Defoe's nuts.
Honestly, yeah, that's another thing about it. You see, Marco Silva's home record stretched so long. It included a home win against Liverpool. It included a win against Watford with 10 men, and a win against Swansea and Bournemouth. And all these, well, Swansea not like a good Bournemouth comfortably beat them. Very good side. And we lost to an already relegated Sunderland side.
I can tell you're still pretty pissed off about that.
I am, yeah. We'd still be in the Premier League, that's the thing. It's just... Whereas now we're probably destined for a few years in the Championships.
To be honest, I'd have more faith in you going back up than us at the minute. I really would. I don't know what Ben... I usually try to have a bit of perspective when I think about things, but I think Ben's probably going to think the same as me. That if I asked you, Ben, out of Sunderland and Hull, who's got the bigger chance in the next couple of years of going up, you'd say Hull, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course. Just goals, really, isn't it? I think Hull's got a better all-round squad. Like, I'm looking at Hull's team now, and do you think they're stronger in every area than stronger than Sunderland in every area? And Abel Hernandez, someone.
Yeah, I was going to think of him.
He hasn't mentioned, but do you think he can be a threat to Dmitri on the side?
Fortunately, he's injured.
Fantastic.
Yeah, how long?
That's great news.
That's great news for you because you can't do it in the Premier League. Let's be honest. But
he's a quality Championship striker, though, isn't he?
21 goals in the Championship last time round, and he got a hat trick against Burton, and then he got injured. So
yeah, once he comes back, he's going to help you get up the table, isn't he?
Easily.
I believe it is.
Oh, is it? Oh,
bloody hell! Yeah, that's a real shame. Can I ask? I'm not sure what you think about Simon Grayson, but me as an outsider, I respect him. I think he did a good job with Preston. I'm not sure how he's doing. I'm not sure how you feel about him at Sunderland, but I think he seems like a manager.
I'll let Ben take this one.
I think Grayson, he's good with the fans. I think he really connects with the fans, and he comes out and says the right things. Sometimes in games he can make a few strange substitutions. Like on Tuesday night, he brought Billy Jones on in the last 10 minutes when we were 1-0 down for a striker. I thought that was strange. And then he came out with a few strange quotes straight out of the David Moyes textbook after the game on Tuesday, saying, if we keep on playing like this, the wins will come, which I can't see it, and I think Michael will agree with us there. But on the whole, he's working with the cash-strapped budget, isn't he? And he's really not got much to work with at all. So I think it would be harsh to have a go at him at this point.
I think that with Grayson, what I would add on that is that I think he's probably to some extent been brought in this season just to stop us being a sinking ship, stop us doing a Portsmouth, Blackburn or a Wolves, and, well, optimistically, I'd like to think, try and go for a promotion push next season. For me, obviously, at the minute, it looks like we might just be trying to stay in the Championship, which depresses me like hell because that shouldn't be our aim. Our aim as a club should be to get back into the Premier League, where I think we feel as a club we should be. But obviously it's ifs and buts and shoulds, isn't it? I think that he's probably brought in to stabilise us this season and just steady the whole thing, and then next season take that when you come to it. But no, I'd agree with Ben. I think Grayson's good with the fans. Certainly, mind you, after the lovely, charming aspects of David Moyes last year, it doesn't really take much to be better than that. But I like Grayson. I do question some things that he's done. I think he's a bit too... I think, similar to what you said about Slutsky, I think he is... Sometimes he seems to me a bit tactically stubborn. But, it's only 7 games. And to be fair, Grayson's come in probably one of the hardest circumstances that he's ever going to have to manage in any football club in his career, isn't he? So a long-winded answer, Dmitri, but I would say that, yeah, I think more fans are definitely on Grayson's side than against him, quite comfortably. Easily. If there's anyone really wanting him out, I think they're talking bollocks. So, yeah. But anyway, I mean... Sorry, go on. Don't know, we've lost you there. You're still there? Ben, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Right. Okay, well, it looks like that, Dimitri's now gone. Well, anyway, look, we'll end it there then. That was an abrupt way to end it. But anyway, I was going to ask him what his prediction was for it, but knowing him, he'd probably say a Hull win, which I can't really blame him for. Anyway, well, thanks to Dmitri for coming on. Thanks to Ben again. And yay, bring on Hull City. The joys. Absolutely. Oh, hang on, he's on. Oh, no, he's on. back on.
Sorry, I don't know what went on there.
Right. Well, okay. So we've got another minute then. No. Basically, I couldn't remember what were you saying before the lovely connection decided to act up. You came to doing it again. You there, Ben? I was going to say we're having a mare of a pod here, aren't we? Oh God. Is it just me here, or is there anyone else here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Right. Okay then. So go on then, Dmitri. Let's just close it before anything else happens. Final thoughts ahead of Saturday. How many are you going to beat us by?
Oh, okay. My actual prediction, I think 1-0. 1-0 to Hull City.
All right then. So you sure you're not going for a 3-0, 4-0? Wouldn't blame you.
I'm going to go for a draw, I think. 1-1.
I think 2-0 Hull. I can't. I usually don't try and make predictions because I always end up jinxing the result, but I can't really jinx anything if I say we're going to get beat. So, 2-0 Hull. Anyway, look, if you're still there, Dmitri, thanks very much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it, and we'll have to try and get you back on here when you come up to the Stadium of Light.
Thank you very much for having me on.
No worries.
It's been a pleasure.
And with the exception of when you play us twice, good luck for the season.
Thank you.
No worries. All right then, mate. Cheers again, Ben.
No problem. Thanks,
Okay,
Dmitri.
No worries. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much, guys, for listening. Apologies for the connection trouble at the end, but we enjoyed this one. And yeah, how are the lads? Let's see what happens on Saturday.